What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you the weekly anime review of Dragon Ball Super. So, right off the bat, just diving in and just discussing the elephant in the room. I know there's going to be so many comments about Gohan and how he's pointless, and I already see it. I already see many comments. But before you even get to this part in the video, before you even get to this time in the video, I already see many people making comments saying, Gohan's just so fucking useless, he should have, have been what he was in the Cell Saga, which, in some ways, I do agree. I really wish Gohan was the badass he could possibly have been. But this episode was kind of allowing us to see a different side of Gohan that many of us really just do not want to accept. And so, let me dive into it. For one, I feel like many are going to probably hate this episode right off the bat just because we get to see Gohan being like a father. Someone that is, just not fighting, not training, nothing like that. It's just a man that's just being a father figure, being a teacher or a scholar, just doing stuff like that. And I can see many looking at this episode and instantly just hating this episode, shitting on it and hating it. I could instantly see this happening. And I understand. I mean, Gohan has a lot of potential. He could have been a very strong warrior if he continued to do training. But this episode, I appreciate Gohan's character, because let me explain. I am one of those people that wish Gohan would have continued to train to be a warrior, because he's a badass. I loved his, character in the Cell Saga, and I loved it when he became Mystic Gohan, when we saw him fight Super Buu. That was just a badass moment. But now seeing this episode, it allows me actually to kind of slightly accept Gohan for who he is. Now, I do know that there was some form of hints or subtle hints or foreshadowing to Gohan maybe becoming powerful once again and maybe training after, the resurrection of Frieza saga, but apparently that's not going to happen, and it's kind of sad, but like I said, I like the direction of this episode. It kind of allowed us as the viewer to try to see it from Gohan's perspective of what he's doing, and also, it's kind of like Trunks was us. That's the best way to look at it. Imagine if we were in Trunks' shoes, okay? And Trunks goes to view Gohan for the first time, and he's like, who is this? Is this Gohan? That's how Trunks was acting throughout the episode. Like, the second half, he's like, is this really Gohan? I mean, he was just so wild. He had no idea what the fuck was going on. He's like, whoa, I mean, Gohan is this happy-go-lucky man. He's, with a child. He has a wife. I mean, he's dressing up in the Great Saiyaman costume. He's like, what the fuck is this? I mean, just overall, it's just something Trunks did not expect. Because, I mean, the Gohan he knew in this present time and in the future, was more of a battle-hardened Gohan that was more for fighting and martial arts. I mean, look, the Gohan he knew in his future timeline, that was a Gohan that always had to deal with fighting. He had to fight. Even if he wanted to be a scholar, teacher, whatever, that Gohan could not, because he had to fight to protect humanity against the androids, and then eventually he died. And then the Gohan we met in Cell Saga, or, Trunks met in the Cell Saga, he was a person that just wanted to fight. He was following under Piccolo's footsteps, and then eventually he finally decided to go down the path of becoming a teacher and study and all that. He focused more on studying than actual, training. And this side is kind of very different from what Trunks ever saw. He's like, holy shit, this is an entirely new person. And it's like something like us as the viewers, just seeing a character that you just wish didn't go down that path, or is just completely different than what you expected. And I love how Trunks, at the end of the episode, he comes with an actual very good way of pointing it out. He's like, I'm glad Gohan is making that face. I am glad he is actually happy. And this is what I want from my future, what I want from my world, people to be happy. I wanted something like this. And he accepts Gohan for who he is, and he realizes this is something Gohan should have been, instead of a battle-hardened person that was constantly fighting. And, I mean, if there's one thing that's very tragic in the Dragon Ball Z storyline, it's definitely Trunks' timeline. Trunks' timeline is a tragedy because there really is no Dragon Balls to bring anyone back in there. So, the main thing is that everyone that was lost there was gone for good. And Trunks' world is pretty much completely fucked. It's completely fucked. And because of this, Trunks never got to see the happy, bright days, what we currently see in our present timeline of Dragon Ball Super, and he wishes he could have dealt with something like that, had to have these peaceful times where he could see, like, a teacher like Gohan, just teaching kids and stuff. He wishes he could have saw that. So, at the end of the day, I gotta say, this episode of Dragon Ball Super, I know many are still going to hate Gohan. They're going to hate his character development, to his characterization, the way he's displayed. I already know. And like I said, I still wish Gohan was a warrior. But I accept him a whole lot more now after watching this episode. Just because that's what the episode's trying to do. It's just trying to let us realize that Gohan is just not that type of character. He's not a character to be a fighter. He's a character that is a father figure, a very good father that cares about his daughter and wants to raise her properly, and also is a man that is a family person. He wants to be around his family and just make sure everything is done right, and I appreciate that. I really do. I really appreciate the way this episode delivered that, and it really comes down to your personal taste. However, I mean, I know many, like I already said, will probably dislike this episode, but I personally enjoyed this episode. It didn't feel slow, it didn't feel boring to me, it was just right. I definitely liked it. It was very nice to see these slice of life scenes in this episode and see a different side of Gohan that we don't normally get to see. I mean, we know he studies and stuff, but we actually get to see the insight to Gohan's life in this episode. What he does when we just hear about him, what he's doing. We actually get to see it in action of what he does when he's actually working or with his family. So moving on past that, we also get hints at where the story is going to go from this point onward. Apparently, Goku Black's ki is very similar to a Kai in Universe 10. And this is very strange, because this Kai actually has been shown in the opening song, and I've mentioned him once, and there's something going on. There's a connection between this Kai and Goku Black, and the ki is very different, so there's something going on here. Maybe the Kai is, you know, using Goku Black, maybe they're the same person in different universes, I have no fucking idea, but this, you know, Kai has a connection to Goku Black, and then apparently Goku in the next episode is going to be going up against him. He's actually going to be fighting this Kai, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this Kai is capable of and getting to see exactly, you know, how, you know, similar this Kai is to Goku Black. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or nights wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.